I hate rap.
It's really upsetting. I used to hate rap, as you know, and I've really just grown accustomed to it.
I just hate rap in general. It's like I'll listen to epic rap battles just because that's funny.
Yeah, well,
but like,
you just
other rap just sucks.
It doesn't, though. You just need to find. I mean, like mainstream rap sucks. You just need to find rap that is about like lyrical wordplay.
Lyrical wordplay. That's just freestyling.
Yeah, exactly. Freestyling, and then there's like Watsky, where it's like almost like spoken word poetry, but has a beat behind it, and then occasionally it gets down into more rapish.
I think it's time to blow this thing.
Welcome to BitBlast East.
BitBlast
BitBlast East presenting two dudes that watch anime, so you don't have to.
That's an interesting way to put it.
I know it is. We're being presented. So I'm your host, your illustrious host. I wear a robe. I smoke a pipe. I'm David. You may know me from some other BitBlast things. You may not know me, which is probably better for you. Your life's probably better. And then with me for the foreseeable future is my co-host, professional wizard and professional anime and nobody, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stephen Vargo. We're just going to jump right into it. There's a lot of interesting shit coming out of Japan. We're going to just try and cover what we think is cool coming out of the anime and manga world, and then occasionally when it crosses over with American stuff or live action shit, we're going to talk about that too. Or just whatever. Who knows? Like, they might end up releasing a cool flavor of Skittles over there. You never know with Japanese candy. So we might talk about like green tea. Actually, I think green tea M&Ms were a thing.
I don't remember.
Green tea Pocky was a thing, and that was the bomb.
Oh, that tasted disgusting.
Dude, green tea Pocky and Almond Crush Pocky.
God,
like,
I bought both of those, and like at least the almond one was okay. The green tea one was just so disgusting.
No, those were top tier flavors. Strawberry being a solid middle flavor, and then there was that blue one that we couldn't read because it was actually in Japanese. Probably vanilla. That one was disgusting.
That one was disgusting.
And then you can't go wrong with basic chocolate Pocky.
Well, that's just your basic Pocky.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, guys. Pocky life lessons. Yep.
Just eat the chocolate one and strawberry. Screw the other flavors.
Mm-hmm. It's untrue. Did you get a chance to see DBZ when it was in theaters? Did you get to see Resurrection of F?
I did not get to see Resurrection F.
Okay, so I went to go see it. I attempted to go see it. I was out in Orlando with a couple of friends of mine. We went to Universal, and we just said, hey, it's going to show at 7 o'clock tonight, kind of in an outskirt of Orlando. We're probably going to be able to make it. We decided to stay in the park all day, get fucking sunburned. Awful idea. But because we were going to go see Dragon Ball Z in kind of the middle of nowhere. And so we go to buy our tickets. Thing is sold out, right? And nowhere. And I was like, holy shit, is this a coincidence? Or I was like, well, Orlando's a big city.
Oh, they only have the one showing.
Yeah, they only had one or two showings. So we look up the numbers. Like the day that it came out, that Tuesday, in the country, in the entire country, Dragon Ball Z was 6th for making money. It made like $6 million that day.
Of course, it was in select theaters across the country, and then it only had like the one showing per day.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
So it's like all these people, it was like the closest one for me over here was over in Ybor. And that's just why I never got it out there, because they had the one showing, and it was like, oh, I can leave work and try to fight traffic.
That's a detractor for why it wouldn't place. It's an anime movie from a show that came out 20 years ago, right? I didn't really think people were going to still care about it.
Well, of course, and after Battle of the Gods, Battle of the Gods was actually very good. It's coming off of the hate of GT. And just hating.
I don't know about you. Pan is the best Dragon Ball Z character.
Oh, Pan.
She's got a bandana. She fights robots. It feels a lot more like Dragon Ball.
Pan. Yeah. Pan at the end of Z, where,
she's a baby.
She's like 3 years old and wants to be in the World Martial Arts Tournament and just kick everyone's ass. Yeah, that Pan was okay. When you've got GT Pan of let's go on space adventures with my little robot.
Hell yeah, I'm about it. I mean, that was basically like, I'm pretty sure the creators, not Toriyama, whoever, because Toriyama didn't head up GT, though he did approve all the scripts, though fans do not want to agree with it, don't want to believe that. He did. I'm pretty sure somebody was watching old Captain Harlock and was like, this is what we're doing.
Air. Who needs air?
Captain Harlock is, as Steven knows, for those of you who might not, possibly the best 70s anime ever made. And I include that over Mobile Suit Gundam. I love Gundam. I love Macross.
Most anyone that's actually listening to us and is an anime fan has probably seen Gurren Lagann and loves Kamina. Think of Kamina being a space captain and like space pirate and just completely insane.
It's like if Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly, Spike Spiegel, and Kamina had a baby together.
That's like the best way to describe it.
There's literally a panel in the comic where he kicks out the cockpit of his space fighter, and somebody goes, Captain, how you can't go out there? You can't breathe. There's no air. And he goes, air? I don't need air. And just goes outside into space. Like the fucking Family Guy thing where Rocky's like, I don't need no oxygen on Mars. Less oxygen for him. And that was played straight. Things like that, a series coming from roots like that, where people teleport around and don't need air, made $8 million in select showings this past week, which is an amazing amount for single showing theaters things.
Oh, like, yeah.
8 million's not that great when it comes to like big Hollywood releases, but that beat out big releases for this past week.
In all defense, it was fighting against Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four made tons and tons of money, by the way. Like $334 million.
No.
If you want to hear me talk about Fantastic Four, find me on my actual American comic podcast. This is done so well that it's getting a full theater release. At least some places. It's getting encore showings. It's actually come back. It's going to be in Ybor again for more than one showing tonight. I just think it's really interesting and really love the fact that Dragon Ball Z has come back. It's acceptable for me. Like, I saw someone... Do you remember those button-down Dragon Ball Z shirts?
Yep.
That I think your brother had the one that has like they had like Vegeta on it, like a Hawaiian shirt. I saw someone unironically wearing one of those in the grocery store the other day. I high-fived him, total stranger. I was like, "You, sir, you're a badass." We high-fived, and he just knew. He knew that he was like, "Yeah, my shirt gets me high-fives."
That's a good thing about
random dudes
when these shows come back is we get the apparel again. It's like
no. Do not get me wrong. Don't wear those shirts if you want to look like a civilized human.
I'm just talking about regular DBZ shirts because it got to the point where it was impossible to find a good one. And now that it's getting popular again, we're seeing a lot more of like the mainstream stores actually carrying DBZ shirts again.
Like Hot Topic, right? Is that a mainstream store?
Like I saw like in Target and
dudes, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Target also sells Wu-Tang Clan t-shirts, so to be fair, they ain't nothing to fuck with. I'm just in love with the fact that this is now... They've always had these limited anime engagements, right? Like, they did the Death Note movie when that came out a couple years ago. They did Evangelion that we saw back in January of last year. They had an English dub of that Evangelion movie released January of last year, and no Blu-ray release yet. I'm not bitter. Sorry, Evangelion fans. The rest of us are going to continue to have to suffer because Hideki Anno's directing Godzilla now. Whatever.
Godzilla.
Where previously these movies have just always been kind of really small engagements and haven't really gotten advertised because they just know anime fans are going to find them.
Oh, yeah.
I ran across an advertising campaign for the Attack on Titan live-action movies. Have you seen the trailer for that shit?
Oh, yes.
God. I mean, I don't really like Attack on Titan. I know that's sacrilege to say. I'm sorry.
Not really.
I really liked the first 8 episodes because they were paced really well. Things happen. And then I watched 12 episodes, and I'm not sure anything happened. I mean, I know they killed some Titans.
Yeah. It was like, I was the same way. I put off watching it for the longest time just because it was just so overhyped, and I didn't want to be that guy of hating overhyped stuff, but everything I saw of it just didn't really interest me. But everyone was like, "Oh, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it." I'm like, "All right." But just like David, like I was really into it. I was like, oh, this is great. And then it just kind of died.
Yeah, I think I watched the first. No, not think. I know I watched the first 8 episodes in one sitting. I was sitting on a couch, like, and you came out. You're like, "You're still watching this?" I was like, "It's good."
But then it just kind of died for like almost close to the end of where you finally
until the big reveal of who the Titan is.
Yeah.
That reveal is worth watching the show for.
Yeah.
I would say that reveal is fantastic. The main thing that made me not like Attack on Titan, their coats. I didn't like the little half jackets that I saw everywhere.
Jacket thing.
It reminded me too much of the like Naruto ninja jackets and like the Akutsuki cloaks. Like I saw that, and my brain like went to the hordes of cosplayers at every convention. That was like, I don't really have a costume, so I have a Naruto jacket or an Akutsuki cloak, and I foresaw this, and my brain just turned off and got angry for no good reason. Like, there's nothing wrong with any of those costumes, especially because if you're, running on a budget, want to still participate. I was just like, damn you tiny half jackets.
Although on the fact of Titans, I did read an article with the creator, and he was talking about the actual Titans of the first designing and everything. He was like, I want the giant monsters. What's scary enough to really be scary? And he's like, well, humans are the scariest thing. He was talking about like some guy who was like touching him and stuff in like this manga cafe or something, and it just creeped him out because he couldn't understand what the dude was saying, and it just completely just scarred him, basically, he said. And he's like, this is perfect. I'll just make them giant naked people that just scare the living daylights out of everyone.
Because they are really unsettling. I think they're the most unsettling like show monster that's happened in a while.
Yeah, because with most of the creatures, like, we'll take your Ava, for example, with the angels. They're not really scary, even though they're supposed to be giant angels.
Yeah, the angels weren't scary, and that was the point of the show, though, right? Like, the Avas were scary, and I was about to to compare the Titans to that.
Really, they still just look like giant creature things when they went berserk and stuff. But
specifically, and spoilers for a 20-year-old show, guys, by the way, but the episode near the end of Evangelion, not the end of Evangelion, but near the end of the series, when with Zerial, the angel that has the big paper arms that takes out.
Yep.
So when like the Ava Unit 1 goes berserk, when Shinji has the moment of, I'm Shinji Ikari, I'm the pilot of Unit 1, let me fight this thing, and starts fucking eating the angel, like, and you see the human face, and you see the human hands, and it's just eating the angel. Like, that's terrifying. I also saw that show way too young. I probably first saw that episode when I was 8, and, like, that stuck with me for a long time.
God.
But I think that's also why the Titans have done so well. It's kind of releasing. It's not Evangelion, although you could make an argument that they're very similar in main character.
We'll do that another day.
Like it's drawn on that same just horror of something that you expect to not be scary, which I think is the best genre and something anime does incredibly well. Another great example is Akira with the kids, and the kids all have old faces, and their toys that come in. That's super scary, but then like really illustrates the point that they're just kids later. So I just love the fact that anime is coming. It seems to be coming back because it got really popular up in the beginning of the 2000s, and then started to drift back down because it was being overbogged by, and I like a lot of this stuff, so don't get me this wrong, but all of a sudden everything was Haruhi and Lucky Star.
Well, in the early 2000s, you had the Toonami. You had Toonami who was pushing all these shows.
Yeah, well,
that's what really got it popular over here.
Yeah, we had the post 90s like serious shonen animes. We had Rurouni Kenshin, Dragon Ball Z was still popular. Zoids, mech shows were still really popular.
And then torrenting and fan subs happened.
Yeah, and that brought over
that's what
all the other stuff.
Yeah, that's what really started bringing over the other stuff. But then that's when you have what we like to call the anime critics who just do not like the, quote, mainstream shows.
Hi.
Which would be David. But they really started bringing the industry down just because of shows like David mentioned, like Haruhi, Naruto, Bleach.
Like, I can't
One
hate on
Piece.
those shows. I can hate on One Piece. I know you One Piece fans out there will find me and kill me, so I'm not going to go into it. It's like poking at a religious cult. But
Well, that
not
was 4Kids' problem.
well, yeah.
That
Notice what
horrible-
happened. Notice 4Kids isn't a company anymore because they fucked with One Piece.
They fucked One Piece.
They're like, as soon as those kids who were watching it got old enough to figure out what One Piece was really about, they're like, you did what to my Straw Hats? Yeah, we're going to take your company down, motherfuckers. Foxbox with you. Fox doesn't show cartoons anymore. All of that. They burnt that to the ground.
Yeah.
Good job, One Piece fans. Please don't come find me. But I like that the seriousness seems to be coming back in popularity and to the mainstream, right? Like the last thing I think I really liked of that like really poppy kind of slice of life stuff before it just got too overwrought for me was K-On! And I know that's too overwrought for a lot of people.
K-On!
But like the pop songs they sang at the end of each episode just got me, man. I was just
man.
I was so hateful and angry right then too. I was watching, I think, FMA Brotherhood and Phantom Requiem for a Phantom every week, and I would just come off watching those back to back and be so dark and sad because both of those are just fucking sad. And then I'd be watching K-On! And my mom would come in and be like, "Are you watching your cartoons for girls?" Like, shut up, yeah, mom, yeah, I am.
Oh, yeah.
Leave me
You
alone.
also watch Modoka as well. Which
We've established that I like Evangelion and things that make me sad. Of course I like Madoka. To jump way back, if you're looking forward to those Attack on Titan live movies, both of them, September 30th and October 20th, you can check them out probably everywhere after the success of DBZ. Other news for stuff coming out recently, Phantasy Star Online's getting an anime.
yeah,
Did you
that
see
just
that?
looks so silly.
So, I love Phantasy Star Online. This anime is actually coming out as the 15-year like anniversary of the original game, which I just picked up on Dreamcast this week.
God, I remember playing that on Dreamcast.
Servers are still up, by the way. People still hold private servers for that game.
Jeez. It was like when I played it several years ago on Dreamcast, there were no actual like American servers, and everyone on there was either from Japan or Australia.
Dude, I want a game with Australians.
It was like those were the only people that were ever online. Watching the promo for the new show that's going to come out next year,
Looks awesome. Ridiculous. So
I don't know if I have high hopes, only because, once again, it kind of looks like just your school life anime, that the Phantasy Star aspect of it is literally just going to be them playing Phantasy Star.
okay, I can see how this started though. So they're planning to make a show, right? They're like, we're going to make a Phantasy Star show. We're going to have it set in universe. It's going to be like, serious, but still have that lighthearted tone they have. People might have kicked around. They're like, well, have you seen Excel World or Dot Hack? We're like, nah, those are old. We don't. Nobody likes shows about video games anymore. Then fucking Sword Art Online
Sword Art
happens,
Online
and
changed.
explodes everywhere. Everyone wants their Sword Art fix. They're about their video games now. Everything's about playing video games. Another show, what was it?
Is it okay to pick up girls in the dungeon?
Context is important to that question, by the way, and the answer is no. No, it is not. But we'll get to that in a minute. So they're just going to go to school and then play the game, and what are the chances that they're getting trapped in this fucking game? Like 100%?
Oh man,
Would it be a
I don't know
bolder,
if they would.
move for them to have them not stuck in the game and not have real world consequences in the game?
I think it would. I think it would be a lot better if it happened that way, because it's so overdone of characters being trapped in the game, or
Sucked into the digital world with your
sucked
Digimon.
into the digital world. It's like, you have like Dot Hack of character is trapped in the game, and they're dealing with that, and then people getting put in comas and stuff. And then you've got Sword Art of 300 something people or 3,000 some people are now trapped in this game
And people die.
People die.
It really felt like they upped the ante. Like someone read the .hack script. It was like one person, 3,000 comas, die. People die, and then otherwise it's kind of the exact same story.
It is.
Except they threw in a romance that makes no sense, and yet I still support.
I think it makes more sense when you read the light novel because it goes into more detail of all their adventures together. But in the show, they just they rushed it way too. It was
they're on screen together. I counted when I rewatched 3 times having any significant interaction, and then all of a sudden he's like, "I love you." When we got a whole episode with this girl that he falls in love with and then dies and sends him that gift on Christmas.
Oh, God.
And like he's crying and I'm crying. Everyone's
that was
crying.
So depressing.
Everyone's sad. And do you know what? Like the next episode, he's a little sad, but like 2 episodes later, he's married to Austin and everything's happy. They go find themselves a digital fairy daughter. Like everything's okay. Let's not forget about the girl. Like no, I mean I get it. The show is about moving on, about past PTSD and stuff. In that point, like I get it, but also like why have a whole episode dedicated to building this wonderful relationship with this amazing girl and then have no lasting consequences when she passes away?
That was the one thing the show had troubles with, was it has this big buildup of emotion, and then it was like they just ignored. Like, we keep focusing on the first half, and we're not looking at the second half.
Of where the second half sucked.
I liked the second half. Yes, it wasn't as good as the first half, but they show once again of, okay, he goes in to go save Asuna. All right, well, why is he, like, just in a happy mood during like almost the first part of that? Of he's supposed to be going finding things to get to Asuna, and yet he's like going on adventures with his sister and everything, and it's like he's not staying consistent on his character.
They couldn't figure out what his character to be because they're like, well, we gotta introduce the other girl to sell more merchandise and have the love triangle, yada yada. I liked the reveal on the show where, because we obviously know from the get-go who his sister's character in the game is, but he still thinks that everybody looks like their video game character.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, when he finds out it's his sister, he's like, no, you're my sister, I don't think of you that way. It's like, damn, okay, cool. Like, that was handled, like, with maturity. But then they just ignore significant character growth in the show. It's like they got to the point where it's like Kirito and Austin are happy and in love together, and their character growth stopped. And it's like awful things happen to Asuna, which are barely reflected later on in the show. And it's like I don't wish
she's basically getting like mind raped almost.
Yeah, awful things, just horrible things to even like really think about of what was going on to her in the plot of the show. And then it's like, what's the lasting change to her? She changes her avatar's hair color to blue.
Yeah. That made me laugh. I get they want to keep it kind of the same character design, but they literally, all they did was change the color palette. And it's like that defeats... It's like, I do like in the second season where she actually shows that she does have a second character that doesn't look like her Asuna character, but then she never uses it. She gives it to her mom to use.
Yeah, I know. And she's like, Mom, if you learn to play video games with us, like, we'll be a happy family. Like, no, that's not how family problems work, Japan. You can't just play Monster Hunter together. That's not true. The family who plays Monster Hunter together stays together.
Monster Hunter.
Unless you make me wipe on the fucking Shigeru Magala fight again, Dad. That fight's not even hard. Sorry, there was a little bit of real anger there. But Phantasy Star, which is where this started, right? So, is it a better move to just have it be like they play games and they know reasonably, like, hey, it's late, maybe we should stop playing?
I really think it'd be
we'll do this raid tomorrow, and then like the next episode is finished up my homework. Do you want to play some games? I would love it.
Honestly, yeah, it's like Gundam Build Fighters where there's no
global,
high
stakes.
There's no high stake global thing. It's just fun where they take something like Yu-Gi-Oh cards of, just making it seem more epic than it actually is.
Did the Gundams cast people into the Shadow Realm? Was it like burning finger into the shadow realm?
No, but there's so many shows with today of just everything is on a large scale, and really the shows don't need to all have the large scale aspect to it.
Yeah, like not everything always needs to be the fate of humanity, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes like an interaction can just be an interaction, which I think is really telling. Now it's a completely
and
different...
especially with this, because this is an anniversary kind of show, so it doesn't have to be anything more than it actually is, which is an anniversary. It's like what Type Moon did with their Carnival Phantasm. It was just complete crap of just... I'm not saying the show was crap, just it was a lot of stuff that didn't have to deal with anything.
I was going to say, because Carnival Phantasm introduced the best character to the Fate Stay / Multi-Blood universe, and that is Assassin's mad bro relationship with the shrine.
With the shrine. Where he's on the truck.
Where he's on the truck with the shrine on it, and the shrine crashes.
Because he can't leave.
And he's like, Anarchy! And it's just like you see this relationship between a man and a building. And that's beautiful, right? Also, I just butchered a Japanese word real hard.
Oh, yeah. But that's really what I'm coming from. We have shows like Attack on Titan, Dragon Ball, and I'm blanking on more right now.
But no, everything like any Gundam series or Macross series, like it goes from being something that could have been simple, and like I understand that those are series like about war and stuff, but then it always drags the whole human race into the equation.
Yeah.
Right? And I think at its core, Sword Art Online was a relationship show. There was fighting, there's all these things, but it was a show about the relationship of Kirito and the people around him, as well as being a shonen and all that. Not all of it is always incredibly well shown, but that's what the show was about. But it had to drag all of these other people into it. Whereas something that's on a completely different end of the spectrum, and it was a very serious, not lighthearted thing, but something I brought up earlier in jest, Rumbling Hearts. Is a very...
Rumbling Hearts.
I can recommend it. I do not recommend it if you have recent like girlfriend or boyfriend trouble.
Yeah, Rumbling Hearts is a very this show could have been a live action series of just the realism of the characters. And it's like for y'all that haven't watched it, it's like I don't really want to spoil it. But it starts out like the first 4 episodes, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Of you're watching and you're going, oh, this is your typical rom-com school life
it's a little
show.
Funny, but you kind of grow to really care about the two main characters.
Yeah.
Even though it's typical, you can see where it's going. You've learned to care about these characters over these 4 episodes. And then the lead female gets hit by a car and is thrown into a coma. And you think, holy shit, is this a bad joke? And that's almost verbatim what I'm blanking on the main character's name at the moment. I should have looked it up before.
Taiyuki, I think it is.
Yes, Taiyuki. And he's like, this has got to be a joke from life, right? And it's just not. And you deal with his girlfriend being in a coma and her waking up years later.
Yeah. You just see the realism in the character of how a person would react in this situation and how long it would take to actually pick yourself up after something like this.
But it's something that was addressed in it was a personal problem and always remained a personal problem. Where something like this, honestly, if it could have been, now it would have been a different genre of show, but she got hit by a car. She was actually the chosen one. Now we need a new chosen one who's going to guide the planet against the mecha spiders. I kind of accidentally described Full Metal Panic there. Not that I don't love Full Metal Panic. I really do, because I love anything that has a giant robot in it.
The Whispers.
But it's just the first 4 episodes of Rumbling Hearts could have been the first 4 episodes of Full Metal Panic, almost.
Kind of close. They were trying to get to the Whispers and everything, and the one gets killed, and then they have to go and protect Kaname and everything.
And then all of a sudden, where in Rumbling Hearts, the big surprise is her... this is still this is a minor spoiler, but she doesn't die. She wakes up, but everything from that after, go find out. The big surprise there is that she wakes up. The big surprise in Full Metal Panic is a robot coming down from the sky. And it's like, this show has robots? Sign me up! God, no, that's wonderful. Speaking of mech shows, do you remember Line Barrel?
Line Barrel.
Okay, Line Barrels of Iron. I think we both liked it. The animation quality got weird.
It was weird. It was like Gundam Seed character design. It was like, did you watch the new Sailor Moon
and Crystal?
Yeah, where it was just like the TV animation was just so bad and everything.
Yeah, then they redid it on the Blu-ray.
And then they redid it on the Blu-ray. Line Barrel didn't get the redo.
Yeah, the animation was weird. I think the story and everything was
The story
really
was great.
And the basic art direction, especially from the manga, was good. So the two guys that made that manga, who are named Shimizu and Shimaguchi, I know I butchered those names. Sorry, people. Are coming back to bring back an old 70s manga they're relaunching called Robot Detective.
Nice.
I'm ready. I don't know what it's about. I didn't go look up what Robo Detective spoilers, but I just hope it's like a film noir with
giant robots.
Not even giant robots, just like androids asking the deep philosophical questions, but set in that noir setting. Like, you know, I was sitting in my office when the vixen all legs came up, and you could tell she was up to no good, like type thing. But it goes and it's showing like it goes from being like Robbie the robot, and it flashes over the door and like a toaster is coming, and it's like, you're a hot piece, aren't you?
A hot piece.
Why don't we have that? Where's my Brave Little Toaster gritty reboot?
The Brave Little Toaster.
Not an anime, but it should have been.
Show.
Yeah, kids shows that deal with adult themes without knowing what they are the creepiest things, right?
Oh yes,
like things that are just commonplace, but used in a wrong way. Which I think Japan just has a lot of that weirdness, just emanating through their whole culture of things can be scary for no reason, right? Like randomly candy can be scary.
Yeah.
We talked about green tea Pocky, all that. This is just a very Japanese thing. This isn't distinctly anime. They have a cup noodle museum in Japan. I learned this today. like the 80-cent noodles you get at the supermarket because you're too poor to eat anything else, that you microwave and taste about as good as the styrofoam that they come in. There's a museum to that. No, not like the decent noodles, like the yakisoba, like the 79-cent noodles or the Maruchan top ramen type things. The cup noodle, man. So in the Cup Noodle Museum, which is amazing, this thing I think has 3 stories. There's 3 stories of Cup Noodle Museum. I guess it's like the Coke Museum in Atlanta. They have a cup noodle ice cream. That's soy sauce and curry flavored.
That just sounds so disgusting.
I've had curry ice cream before. It was vanilla with like curry flake in it, and that was really good. So maybe that has a an option here. And tell it what would you put on that? Like what toppings would you throw on your ice cream normally? Like
normal toppings you would get either like cherry or
like
chocolate.
Gummy bears.
Gummy
something,
bears.
What about like actual tempura shrimp or like green onions and scallions?
That just doesn't sound right.
That sounds disgusting.
That sounds
right?
like a pregnant woman's like craving of the ice cream and pickles or whatever.
Yeah, ice cream and shrimp and make it like real ramen, but it's ice cream. That sounds awful, right? At the same time, we live in Florida, and it's like ramen's really good, but too hot sometimes. The more I think about this, the more, Japan, you need to bring me the ramen ice cream. Deliver it to my house, please. So I haven't been really keeping up. Right, I'm really busy. When my free time, I generally am reading comics because you can put those down and come back to them a little more than a show.
Watching a show each week.
But I do like to, I do like to keep up. What animes? Give me like 1 or 2 shows that you're watching right now that maybe I should check out.
Gate most definitely is one going right now.
Gate, like what? Am I supposed to be feared of like a fence? Like there's a picket fence there? Like what?
Gate is that show where it's a geek's fantasy story actually coming to life. Of when you have modern day military, versus medieval, like Lord of the Rings army.
Fuck yeah.
It's like that is something that we've always talked about as geeks of, would a tank take on a dragon and stuff like that? And then Gate comes out and is like, you know what? We're just going to have a random gate just appear in downtown Tokyo.
Well, Tokyo doesn't have an army.
Well, they have the JSDF, which is the Japanese Self-Defense Force, which is basically their army, but because of after, that
World War II, yeah.
thing that happened several years ago, America was like, yeah, you guys can't have an army anymore.
If you ask Japan what event they were all on vacation. They can't.
That would be Germany.
Them too.
But really, it's like this gate just appears, and all of a sudden, this entire army comes out with like orcs and pig creatures and flying dragons.
And there's like one Pantera fan in the city who's like, fuck yeah, metal, right? Like, that's what's happening.
All of a sudden, this just army comes out and just starts slaughtering all these people because, it just appears out of nowhere. What are these people going to do? And the main character, being part of the JSDF, kind of works to help the evacuation of the area until the JSDF can show up, and then they show up and just
wreck shit.
Wreck shit. It just mowing down this army because it's like, oh, what's this little tin metal shield going to do against a 54 caliber? It's like,
how about it?
It's just going to rip right through like it's nothing.
Now that
they
would
bring
be a
in
50 cal. There's no 54
Oh,
caliber.
But it's like, and you got the little choppers flying in, just mowing down these dragons like they were nothing.
That honestly sounds like when, for those of you who play D&D out there, world, like
this is the fantasy D&D that you've always wanted.
Like when that one friend comes over and is like, I want to play D&D, but I don't want to be no bitch ass elf. I made an army ranger, and you're just like, you have to agree because his older brother is stronger than you.
And what makes it a show is like, of course, they go in to the gate and they actually take over the entire area on the other side of the gate.
That's
and
straight up imperialism. Japan's
they sit
back
there,
to
they
it.
build like their whole military base, and then the show really focuses around this one recon group that goes out to kind of just survey the lands and whatnot. And it's really funny with the characters, just because the one thing anime is having an issue with today is the harems animes coming out. There's so many harem
it's always
anime.
just like the dude and is like, I can't choose between these 6 super hot girls. Yeah. I have an awful life. So thanks, Tenchi Muyo. You made this shit for us.
We'll get back to that. But back to Gate of, you watch the opening and you're like, oh crap, it looks like a harem anime because it shows like the elf girl, this goth Lolita girl, this other mage chick, and
it sounds like harem anime.
You're going, oh crap, and then you realize in the show the elf chick is a lesbian,
that's hot.
Goth Lolita chick is a 965-year-old apostle of the god
Time Lord,
god of war, and is completely insane when it comes to battle. She has this gigantic axe and just starts slaughtering people.
Welcome to Hot Topic.
But really, it's like, I don't want to give... I mean, that's pretty much leads you into this story.
No, I mean, it sounds interesting enough that I would watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I would download.
It's nice to
acquire it legally.
It's nice to get something different. Even though it's an old idea that people have had, nothing's actually done it yet. And this seems like not only have they done it, but they're doing it in a way that makes sense. Because it's really all about the politics, and because they go into like Japan just can't go in and conquer them. None of the other nations over here, especially America, is not going to let them go in and just conquer.
Yeah, there's oil on the other side. God damn it, that oil needs some freedom.
Yeah, they go into that of we want the resources too and stuff like that. and it just really hits on all these different points.
Are they too afraid in the show to ever actually like call them out on real resources, or are they always like, we need the resources?
I'm actually not sure. They haven't gone into it. The newest episode, which should be next week, they're actually coming back.
I just think
to
it'd be
our
really
world.
funny if the Japanese literally call the U.S. oil mongers. And then we would have to go give Japan Freedom Rounds 3 and 4. All right, well, actually, that's about all the time we have for today. So thank you for joining us for our inaugural episode here.
Yeah.
Hopefully you decide to stick around. Hopefully you didn't ramble too much for your shit. If you have any questions, comments, angry letters,
ideas,
funny words you want us to say, things you want us to talk about, or shows you just think we might not have heard of, so you can send an email to podcasts@bitblastnetwork.com, and the site administrator Sturgis will make sure they all get to us. Or you can find me on Facebook through the BitBlast page. You might have to go through the retconned page because we haven't finished setting everything up yet. But check out the upcoming days. We're going to have a lot of interesting stuff going on. We may have some more in-depth coverage on particular shows or reviews of things we want to do. Be on the lookout. Thanks for sticking around and supporting us. Give us an hour of your life.
Hope to talk to you guys again.
See y'all, Space Cowboys.
With a kick of the future, maybe kicks the knees and masters, just to wait the blues and little process. Oh yeah.